you doing, Brad?
Hey, Tara. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Not too shabby.
You look great.
Thanks. I've been quarantined again for a week, so I made it to my dining room today. It's about the furthest.
Man, we opened up
I'm
the
good.
office, so it's been
Are you
wild.
done?
Mhm. Yeah, everybody's good. Yeah, we're just trying to figure all this out.
I know. It's a fascinating world. And
That's
Curtis, how about you? Curtis, I believe I met you when I went to Detroit for LCA.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, things are good. Pivoting as well. We had 78 events that we had canceled because of the coronavirus that we had scheduled from me and my sales reps. And then now we had probably 250, 300 this year. A lot of keynotes, a lot of different stuff with appreciation marketing. And we're pivoting now. We're just doing we're doing more online stuff and hired an online sales coach. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, we are live now on Facebook, and I have to say happy Tuesday, and thank you guys so much for your patience. Technology can be really fun sometimes, and things don't always work out the way that we want them to. However, they are working now, and we're going to move forward. And I have the pleasure of interviewing today Brad, who is a rock star. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself so he can tell you exactly where to send those real estate referrals to. He did 50 million in 2019, and he's got a whole bunch of 5-star reviews. If you haven't seen it, he's a rock star. If I have clients to send him, I'm definitely sending them his way because I know he'll take really good care of them. And then Curtis is with AM Cards, and I must say I am an active user with AM Cards. I am grateful for AM Cards. You guys help me from my hand not hurting all the time. And my clients love the delicious brownies. So I'm really, really excited for you to share exactly what kind of special goodies you have for them as well. So Brad, will you tell us a little bit about you, where you're from?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, so I moved to DC in 2014 from North Carolina, and I was a school teacher, and I quit after I sold one house. It's a true story. Sold one house and quit, and yeah, jumped headfirst into real estate. So I have a team that services DC, Arlington, Alexandria, Bethesda, just all around the DMV there in DC. And so, yeah, last year we actually sold 49.4 million. So I just rounded up. So
we're gonna call it 50. We'll call it 50.
I'm just gonna call it. It sounds so much better to say 50. So yeah. So then last October, my wife and I, we'd been talking about moving back to North Carolina. And so I just started putting pieces in place. I'd been building a team. So I have a great operations manager, an EA. We have an awesome listing agent. We've got really great buyer's agents. And I kind of put the MREA model to the test, a millionaire real estate agent. So, we did right at 1.2 in GCI last year. And I was like, well, I want to move to North Carolina. And so I took the team leader role at a market center in Greensboro, North Carolina. So for folks that don't know what that is, that's essentially a sales manager of a Keller Williams brokerage. So I took that role. We moved down, moved down in November. Our team in DC, Arlington's doing great. Even through COVID, they're doing really well. We're not on track for our original goal that we set this year, and yet we pivoted, we restructured our goals, and they're doing really, really well. So we're really pleased with that. And then my role now is really coaching and consulting our top agents, and the R word, right? So recruiting, right? So I'm reaching out to folks all the time to tell them about, really just have business conversations with them and lean into them about, what is their current brokerage providing that is helping them grow a big business. And, generally when I have conversations with people that aren't looking to grow big businesses, I generally end up telling them they're good where they're at. And if they really want to grow, and growing a big business doesn't mean you have to have a 7th level team. It just means whatever that is to you. So yeah,
Amen.
that's what I do. I go around and that's my day pretty much.
Well, that's awesome. And I have to ask, for the team that you had, and well, first I must note, teachers, I swear, make the best realtors.
I thought about it too, because and I think what it is, and I've thought, like, I've been asked that a lot too, is that, I was used to getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and following a system until 3:30, 4 o'clock every day. Right. And that's like essentially what real estate is, right? If you take that same mindset and you get to the office at 7:30 and you work a system until 3:30, like, you're going to do really well in real estate. I mean, when I first got into real estate, and I would go to the office at 7:30, because that's when I went to work. And I saw that, like, at the time, I thought they were my competitors, the other agents in the office, getting there at 10, 11, hanging out at the water cooler, whatever. And I'm like, banging the phones, like calling FSBO'S and expireds, and, following up with all my open house people and Zillow leads and whatever else I could get my hands on. I'd already talked to 20, 30 people by the time they got to the office, and I was like, I'm going to be fine. So
I bet.
Just following a system. Yeah.
So we love systems. And before I introduced you, Curtis, with AM Cards, I just want to confirm, Brad, for you, when you, obviously your team in Arlington and DC area has been very successful, would you say that your top sources of business were expireds and FSBO'S? If not, what were they?
Yeah, expireds and FSBO'S was and are and still are our top sources of business. Originally, I started out just calling them, and then I got much more systematic about marketing, follow-up, and using, tools to help with that process.
Awesome. And Curtis, because I know our listeners, we were a little late today, so we want to jump straight into the juices. So do you just want to give us a short little intro about who you are and what AM Cards is?
Yeah, absolutely. I started AM Cards 5 years ago, and I wrote the book called Appreciation Marketing: How to Achieve Greatness Through Gratitude. And one of our biggest focuses was repeat and referral business and helping people really stay in touch with their database. However, after being out there in front of so many crowds with real estate agents, one of the things that we heard over and over and over again was FSBO'S and expireds, the low-hanging fruit. Like, these are people that want to buy, and expireds are willing to pay. They've already signed on with an agent, just happened to expire. So they wanted cards, they wanted some systems to be able to help better assist them for staying in touch. And hopefully when they want to list that home, they're going to give them an opportunity to do it. So we put together systems, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a little bit. I would love to hear some of the systems and what you and what Brad have put together. And then I'm going to dive in and show some really cool stuff that I had my programmer put together. And actually, a little surprise for both of you guys here today. We just actually implemented something else about a week ago that I think you guys are both going to really love. So I would love to hear from you guys and what you guys can add some more value to this group that's hopping on here.
Yeah, well, I know this. So this is the webinar, obviously, for the automated systems for FSBO'S and expireds. And I'm excited to learn from Brad, because that is not a source of my business. So Brad, let's hear, if anything, I want to know too, and those that are listening, make sure that you guys are using the chat in order to ask the questions you guys have. Brad is very transparent, so I'm excited to learn from him as well. Brad, let's talk about those automated follow-up systems that you have over there.
Yeah, so what we started figuring out was that, with the limited amount that we were getting each day, we're in a hot market, right? This is not 2010 where you've got 50 expireds a day. So we were finding that with expireds and FSBO'S, if we couldn't list them right away, that they were listing between like 4 to 6 weeks. There was like a cool-off period before they listed their home, right? So they would either list first week, those were our home runs. And then we've got, then we got to play the 7, 8, 9 inning game with the follow-up. So we use a few different tools. So one that we use for text, email, and ringless voicemails is a system called Agent Legend. I know that Tristan uses it. He actually showed me how to use it. And essentially, it's like this. I talk to Tara, and I get a feel for when Tara, I try to set the appointment on the phone. Tara says, oh, we're gonna hold off for 2 months or whatever the case may be. Then we started our automated drip of essentially, then right when I get off, our VA puts Tara into Agent Legend. Tara gets a series of text emails and ringless voicemails that are based on your timeline. So we have drip campaigns built out for, whatever we think, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. And it'd basically be like your first text would say, hey, Tara, thanks so much for talking with me. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. The next email would be like stats and information about our team. We'd send another text like 10 days later. So we keep dripping on people that we talk to that way, because what we found is the more people we were putting into our database, the more that the harder it was to keep following up, right?
And Brad, let me just ask, the systems that are in the follow-ups for Agent Legend that are already in there, were those follow-ups, like the verbiage and whatnot, that's the content, the juice, were those already in Agent Legend, or did you have to create those yourself?
They had some, but we ended up creating them because it's really not that much work. If you spend 1 day and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go through it, and you sit down as a team and you start checking everything out, like you can start putting things together, especially like the email drips and things like that. So, but there are drips already in there. We just kind of tweaked them to what we felt worked best for us. So then what we also did was, we know that Gary tells us, or MREA says, that we need to establish a relationship. We need 8 contacts in 8 weeks, right? So it's hard to do that only through RVM, text, email. So we brought in AM cards so that we could start sending some marketing pieces that people could get in their hand, because what we found is, like, when we were doing this in 2017, 2018, we were like pioneers to it, right? Like no one was doing what we were doing, right? And now everybody sends text messages, right? Like when I talk to an expired, they'll say, oh, we got 30 text messages this morning, or we got 34, so it's like, okay, well, we got to start differentiating ourselves, because text is free, right? So people are going to do it. So then what we did is we basically have a series of cards that we send that's based on our unique value proposition. So the first one is basically like our sales stats and what we are, what sort of sets us apart from the market. And it'll have like an example of a listing that we sold that expired versus, the pictures of that one versus what we did to the property and the results. The seller netted an extra $30K and actually sold their home. The next one will be our listing packages. So we actually do listing packages. So, not one size fits all. So we have different packages. We also do cash offer if people want a cash offer. And then we have a renovate to sell program. So we basically send a series of postcards, marketing material to them. And basically how that works is I've basically trained our VA. And if you're an agent could do this too, but I've trained our VA to look in MLS and like what to look for in the type of properties we want to market to. So even if we don't get them on the phone, we can still do some marketing pieces. And we get a call back for about 1 out of every 30 that we send out. So, it costs us about, because we send 3, it costs us about $100 to generate 1 seller lead, which I think is pretty damn good.
I'd say that's pretty damn good for an ROI. And just to answer the question that came in, and to reiterate what you just said, you are still sending them your system of AM cards, even if they didn't answer the phone, correct?
Depending on the listing, because there's so few, right? Because we only get our target audience is only a couple, like we only get maybe 2 or 3 a day. Because, you see some expires that'll expire, but the agent just messes up and they relist it, same day, right? So really for that, we wait about it's delayed about 5 days, so our VA can double check to make sure it's not relisted. And it's in the price point, the location. You know, she looks at the pictures to see if it's vacant or not. We have a series for like rehabs, like, so if it's like an as-is property, we send them a different series than like a luxury listing.
Oh, I like that. And then, so how many touches would you say you probably do? Let's say that let's say that it was in the middle range, not a rehab, not luxury, in the middle, and they did not answer, but you knew that you should send them at least one of your series. How many are you sending them until you're like, all right, they didn't text, they didn't call back, they didn't respond, like, I'm not wasting any more money on them?
So they go into a bucket called cold expired leads, so our database is broken into buckets, and they'll go into the cold expired leads. And when we have a new agent, a brand new agent join our team, or, you know, if we're training an ISA, we have them call through that bucket. But we won't market to them more than about 3 times if we haven't talked to them.
Okay,
So
awesome.
We'll send 3 marketing pieces. And if we don't get a call back on that, and we've never talked to them, we don't call it a dead lead, but we're not super focused on them because we want to get really focused on the ones that have showed some interest.
And then what about the ones that, and this is a question that we just had that came in as well, what about the ones that have just told you flat out that they're not thinking about selling, which, you know, they have scripts too, guys. When they say that they're not interested in selling, are you still doing your 3 systems to send them 3 pieces, or are you just kind of giving up at that moment?
Depends on the location and the price point. So I think for everybody out there, you have to define like what your target market is, because you don't want to chase everything, right? But for us, like, we have about 10 zip codes, and we know that between 400 and 800 is a really good sweet spot for those zip codes, like price range wise. And it's different for every market, right? And, you know, we do like branding and advertising, and we sell a lot in those areas. So, you know, it's sort of an additional touch, if you will. So if it's in one of our target markets, then we'll send it no matter what.
I love that you have it narrowed down to a science. And I hope you guys heard that, because what Brad just said is that he has it narrowed down to 10 zip codes, and he knows exactly the price range of 400, 800,000, that it's his target demographic. So essentially what he's saying is those questions that are coming in, if you guys are asking, you know, well, if there don't answer or this and that, if they don't match that criteria that he knows that is his perfect system, then he's not going to waste his time or energy on them. And he's going to focus more of his time and energy in that juice, the 10 zip codes and the 400, 800,000. Correct, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that. So figure out your system.
Well, yeah, figure out figure out who your market is, right? Like, I used to go an hour away. Like, when I first started, I was only prospecting. I mean, I would drive 90 minutes to a $250,000. Actually, I drove 90 minutes to a $170,000 listing condo, and I broke several laws getting there because I was in traffic in DC trying to go all the way out to this place called Manassas, and I had to get in like the very right-hand lane. And as I'm speeding through there, I'm like, if I get pulled over, the commission's not even worth the ticket that I'm going to get. And I was like, well, whatever, I need the business. So I just, I got there, I signed the listing, it all worked out. But now I would never do that. I mean, I'd like to stay right in my in my target area, and do business there. So
it's side note, I don't know if this will help anybody. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started giving people times that I'll be there. It's usually an hour, unless they're a high S or C. I'll give a 30-minute window. So are you available between 4 and 5, or is 6 and 7 better? I will be there between 4 and 5, and I will text you when I'm on the way. So if I show up at 4:59, guess who's not late? And it's been magical because I'm not having to race or possibly get a ticket and, you know, knock on the door at exactly that time, because you want to be professional and not be late. And I text them when I'm on the way. And I noticed, like, Florida, our lighting company, or the Comcast gives you a 4-hour window. All right. I think we're a lot better than Comcast. So I give them an hour. It's totally fine. Anyway, side note, I got a question here, Brad. What company do you use for VA?
So I actually don't use a company. I hired I hired one in January 2017. She's my longest standing employee, still with me. Um, she's my she's our rock, right? She's awesome. And then I have a couple others. I have used Craig Goodlife's company. The hell is what is that called? I can't think of it right now. But what I would say is like there's tons of different companies, right? What I think the biggest mistake people make with VAs is number one, they treat them like trash, right? They treat them like they're not people. And number two, they don't take any time to really define the role for them, right? Cyberbacker's the one, yeah. So Cyberbacker I like because they do a lot of the training and upfront work for you. And I'm not to say that others don't, but that would be, it's just like hiring an employee, right? You don't just hire an employee and say, hey, well, it's kind of like if you were going to start working out, right? And I say, hey, go on Planet Fitness, here's some machines, like get fit, right? Thumbs up, right? No, you got to give them a CrossFit plan, right? You got to be like, here, you got to go here, and for 30 minutes you do this, for 30 minutes you do that, and you have to talk with them every day. So we have two VAs that work all of our systems and backend stuff, and then we actually have a VA company that is, you know what they are? They're called expats. They're in Nicaragua, but they're like native language, English language speakers, and we use one of them as our ISAs. We have a 5:30 phone call with him every day, right? So him, my listing agent, my ops manager.
In the morning or in the evening?
In the evening. It's in the evening.
Okay.
Our team has a 7:45 a.m. call every morning, but
that's okay.
5:30 they do a daily recap, right? And the ISA says, today I had this many contacts. I called these lists. I had this many contacts. I had this many nurtures or leads generated I added to the database. And then this is how many appointments I set. And here's the information about them. And then the lead listing agent, he says, well, I went on these appointments today, and this was so we either kick the lead back to the ISA if we don't sign it, or it stays with the listing agent. But that's like inspecting what you expect. We do that every day. At 5:30, the three of them get on a phone call together.
That's awesome. I like that. I love this question that actually just came up, and I feel like it's perfect segue into kind of talking about just the automated systems that you have besides just for the FSBO'S. But if you were the process to have substantial success in working with the expired seems overwhelming and pricey. Side note, Irina, I really like you. Let's take out the word overwhelmed because it's negative, and let's change that with fascinating. Like today, the Zoom link was really fascinating. Technology can be really fascinating, just like expireds could be really pricey. The words we use matter. So yes, can it be fascinating and pricey? What would be the first step, Brad, that you'd recommend for someone considering this business model, i.e. obviously marketing to expireds, and it's the number one essential paid service if you had to pick one?
Okay, so here's where I would start, I would start with script practice, because we set way more appointments on the phone than we do any other way.
And that's free.
And yeah, once you pay for the data, it's free, right? So number one, if you're gonna start with expireds, I would start with script practice. There's tons of scripts online. They all basically do the same thing, right? I mean, it's basically finding motivation and setting the appointment. That's what, when you ask, where are you moving to next? It's not because you're really nosy, it's because you want to know what their motivation is. So number one is script practice. And in the beginning, like those scripts, you need to be reciting them, writing them down, and reading them daily. Even when we get a phone call from an AM card, right? And they're like, hey, we got your card in the mail. That's not a guaranteed appointment, right? We have to take them through a script and, get them to the appointment. So it's like a foot in the door, but it's not, it's not everything, right? You still have to build that skill set. So number one, I would say start with your scripts and get really good at it. Number two is you can't just pull MLS data, right? And start trying to skip, whatever. You need to get a service like a Vulcan 7. So I'll put mine in the chat. It's
Is that what you're using, Vulcan 7?
Yep. So that's our link. You'll get like a few months of back data with that. So we use Vulcan 7, and that's where we use to get the data because it updates automatically, and we use that to call them first. So we call them, and then once we make contact with them, then we put them in our database, and then the VA assigns them into AM cards, if that makes sense. So what I would start with is I'd start with the easiest, not easiest, but the prospecting piece first, and then start layering on the follow-up once you start making contacts and talking to people and sending out some of the marketing pieces once you've defined, you know, really what your market is. Because you really don't want to be sending out, you know, marketing to areas that you're not familiar with.
I love that. So what you're saying is first is scripts, 2 would be Vulcan because you have to subscribe to some sort of service. And then 3rd would be coming up with a system that obviously has to include AM cards because there's no one better than AM cards. Hello.
Yeah.
And
if I can do a screen share, I'll just show everybody what.
Yeah, let's see your screen share. Yeah. Let's see the juice. I want to see the goods.
I'm
so
sure
we can see
why.
Like,
that sounds nice, but let's look at my second screen here. There you go.
So we can see why you should hire Curtis and find out with AM
here?
cards. Yep.
Well, that's awesome, bro. I love what you did there. This is actually one of our stock cards, and then you made it even more branded.
Yeah, so we took the template that you had and we just branded it to us. So, you know, this is just some random info that we pulled offline, right? Like
will you go up? So this is like ideas, obviously, and that's part 1. So then you have another part.
Tara, so like some of the things like you would never think of, like make sure that you paint your mailbox or polish your door handle, like little things. And it's a 3-part series. There's 3 cards that you can schedule to have it go out, just adding value.
Yeah. So
well, that's genius. I just learned something new. I could even send that to just my regular clients that when they're getting ready to list as well.
And this is also great after an open house when somebody comes and says, hey, I'm thinking about selling in 6 months. Well, then set this up for a card to go out each month for the next 3 months.
Although, Brad, what do you think my card's going to have on it that yours doesn't?
Pink ass flamingo.
How'd you know?
So yeah, I mean, this is the 3-part series that goes out, 65, and this is a template, and we just branded it for us.
Well, that's genius.
And let's see, so that's the 3-part card. That's a template, right, Curtis? You know, I don't do any of this.
Yeah, it's in real estate, yeah.
Yeah, it's a template, and then we just put our branding on it.
What's that expired packet that's in there?
Yeah, so one of them that we uploaded is this. So this is like the TK. This is what we would send. This is what we would send to someone that we want to do like a renovate. These are like packages that we offer. And then we partner actually with our title company, so they pay for all this stuff.
That is brilliant.
They're paying for the printing and whatnot.
Yeah, they pay for everything. They just reimburse us at the end of the month for all of it.
Love it. And then they have half the page. Okay, got it.
All right, that was worth the whole Zoom in itself right there.
Yeah, it was.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is it. It's just that we send different, so these are our 2 that go out, and once they come in, they look really nice. They're professional. They look good. You know, it doesn't look. They look nice, and we get callbacks on them. Like I said, it's about 1 out of 25 or so.
Do you mind if I share my screen real quick, Tara?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to show a couple quick things because I also want to show you. And for those of you guys hang on here for a little bit. I got something kind of cool that I'm going to share with you here. Let's see, desktop, share. Oops, let's see here. Okay, so for those of you guys that aren't crazy familiar with AM cards, we print it, stuff it, stamp it, and mail it for you anywhere in the world. And yes, we do have drip campaigns of what we're talking about right here. And so in here in the card section, we actually have a real estate section that's specific, happy home anniversary. Like here's a for sale by owner one, 14 safety tips every for sale by owner needs to read. Like don't park your car in the driveway because you could get blocked in. Leave the back door unlocked in case you have to escape. Don't let the kids get in there. If somebody knocks on your door and wants to view it, don't let them. Get their name, the information, set an appointment, liability and stuff. So this kind of value added stuff that you can send. And then of course you can brand it however you want on the card, completely white label capability. This is a really fun one. That's tons of cards are going, thousands of these are going out, just checking in, of course, during the COVID. So we're talking about automation specifically on this Zoom. So what I want to do is I want to share with you guys a couple things that we put together. One is I hired a coach that's that helps take businesses online and yet also has listed thousands and thousands of homes out in Texas. And so I wanted somebody that focused on FSBO'S expireds and whatnot. And one of the things that he did was I paid him a whole bunch of money to meet with him one full day. And he actually allowed me to take his templates and create AM cards out of them. And so we have like 13 cards that are not public right now. However, I did talk to him and I told him, I said, hey, if anybody signs up on these webinars that I'm doing, if I can share this whole campaign, do you mind? And he said no. So they're not public. However, if somebody signs up today, I'm going to send them all to you guys free of charge. Like for instance, here's one right here. Like, is selling your home a bigger job than anticipated? And then on the inside, you just change the information in here to your own.
Peasy.
And all of the branding is already done. So you put your website in here. You put your URL right here and the copy is already written. And then you just add your branding to the back and it's done. And what's great about this, there's so many different ones that we have. There's 13 different ones, like need a little help. That's kind of funny.
I love that one. That's cute.
Don't gamble with the equity in your home. Are you fishing in the wrong pond? You don't need this guy. Need a winning game plan to sell your home. Are you really getting your share? You know, so what's missing in your home sale effort? So you can pick and choose what's great, which ones you want to send. You don't have to send them all. And we do have in our drip campaigns this set up. So I'll show you how I'm going to have my assistant share them to you and how you can get them. One of the other things that you're going to want to know, and Tristan, by the way, Tristan actually sent us his urgent expired campaign that if you go in, you can clone to your account. It just automatically brings all of these cards into your account. Past client year one, staying in touch, like a little 8x8 campaign there as well. But I want to show you this right here. This is really very simple and easy to do. Brad and Tara, this is what's neat. Now I asked my tech guy, I said, there's so many people that are having campaigns sent out and they forget completely that they're actually sending these cards to these people. Give you an example, like past client, you close a deal this month and you put them on a drip campaign to receive like 6 cards over the next 12 months. And that last card that they're receiving might be a happy home anniversary card. And I have a lot of clients that are actually attaching a box of brownies to that card when they send it. And then what they're doing is, let's say this is a happy home anniversary. It goes out 360 days after the first card. All right. Now, if you want to, you can also have it say specific date, or you can have the home anniversary listed in your system and it automatically goes out 4 days before. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you guys had this.
And it's so simple to do. And if people think, oh my gosh, this technology is setting up a drip campaign. We simply walk you through it. And we have customer support if you ever have any questions that will talk to you on the phone, a real person, and walk you through this. So watch this. So let's say we had it as a campaign as a specific date, 365 days after. But check this out. You can say 4 days after this card is sent, we're going to send you, Tara, or you, Brad, a text message with the person's name. It's going to say home anniversary campaign and their phone number in a text message. So you can quickly click that and say, hey, I can't believe it's already been a year. You know, oh, I just received your card and your box of brownies. Thank you so much. And as you guys all know, these cards, they lead to conversations, and conversations lead to opportunities, and opportunities lead to closed business. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because we have that in our system, and setting up a drip campaign is so simple. What do you name your drip
Absolutely.
campaign?
And
So-
a question, so the contacts that we're putting in here, we're not connecting it to our CRM. We are inputting the contacts that we're sending the cards to, correct?
Yes, and check this out. We have a little done for you system. As since the last Zoom call that Tristan had me on, I said we had so many people requesting, like, can you just do it for me? And so we actually put together something that I'll talk about in just a second. We have, I think everybody should set up this right here. It's called ineedyouradress.com. The person that I hired as my programmer, he owns this company, and it's because he was getting married and he needed an easy way to collect addresses. So what's cool about this is ineedyouradress.com is free, okay? And when you set it up, this is ineedyouradress.com/clucy, just for me. And I can send somebody this link and they fill out the information and it automatically connects to my AM cards and goes into a group. Isn't that cool?
Oh, I like that a lot. And then, when you're uploading the contacts, can you import them, or do they have to go in manually? Was one of our questions.
So underneath contacts right here, you can just put import contacts, and you can bring a CSV file, and you can actually bring it into a specific group. And now,
okay, so then you can group it too.
So what's
Brad,
this?
did you know that it did all this? I didn't know that.
What's this? FSBO'S Automagic. So if we add somebody to this group, it automatically sends a campaign to them. So let me give you an example. You have your VA that you might not want to have access to everything. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. If you set your criteria of I want a home between 250 and 550,000 or whatever in this price range, I want to send cards to them, you could just simply have them go to ineedyouradress.com and type in the name and address. And by doing a reverse lookup, or if you get fed that information, you can do that as well. Just type in the name and information. It automatically saves it to this group and triggers the campaign. And so we have a setup for you. We also have customer support that can help with this as well, making it really, really simple to be able to set up. We just get the branding and everything. So let me show you this really quickly right here too. So creating templates and campaigns, very simple. Thank you cards. Happy birthday, nice to meet you, congratulations. Like once you close on a deal and you want to stay in touch of them, obviously your highest ROI is taking care of your database and getting referrals and repeat business. That's a no-brainer. We're using this system. And as I mentioned before, the cards, they lead to conversations, opportunities. So let me go over the pricing real quick for those of you guys that are saying, tell me how much this is. I'm looking forward to using it. We're going to make it really easy for you to take this for a test drive today. So there's two options. One is you can pay the full $295, and I'll tell you what you're going to get for that. Or you have an option today to sign up completely, waive the $295, and it's only $39, and there's no contracts and there's no commitments. The $39 gives you access to our system, and we bonus you 20 cards a month, every month, and that's including the stamps, which are 55 cents a stamp these days. So $2 a card, completely brandable and everything. The credits roll over every month for an entire year. You can even use your credits to send the gourmet fudge brownies. You can do campaigns, like we talked about before, personal branding, and there's no contract. So we make it really simple. And the website for that, I'll give it to you in just a second. Or you can actually pay the $295. And I'm going to give you the Referral Secrets Mastery course that we filmed. It's 30 days of one way to generate more referrals. There's a whole bunch of different ways, but there's 30 days worth. There's a branding package that we're going to include in this as well, where we set up your branding, we put it in your system for you, and we help you set up your campaigns to be able to be sent out for you. And we'll set up I Need Your Address and link the two and put it all together for you. So that way, if you know that you should be doing something like this and you're going to get signed up and probably put it off for a while, just pay the $295. We'll give you $1,000 worth of value for sure. And then it's $39 a month. And included in your first month is the $39 of the $295. So you can either or. So you can either go to amcards39.com and sign up just for $39 today. No contracts, no commitments. Oh, and by the way, I will share, anybody who signs up today, I will share that entire campaign that's not public, all those 13 cards that has the copy already written. You just need to add your branding to it. I'll send those to you for free, included with the 39. And then if you just want to go to AM, if you want to, and I'm going to send it to you, Tara, and yes, I'm going to send it to you, Brad, as well. And the amcards.com, if you guys just go there and set up, you'll see that you guys can pay the $295. Just click the upgrade, pay the $295. We will notice that you paid the $295. So we'll probably reach out to you before you reach out to us. The other option is if you sign up for $39, reach out to us. We'll charge you the difference. And if you get in and say, you know what, I want them to do it all for me, we'll just charge you the difference. And then we'll give you all that stuff. So just making it really simple and easy for you guys to get started today, either for $39. That's it. No contracts, no commitments, or you can pay the $295 and we'll give you the done for you system, get you all set up, ready to go, take a 15-minute call with you and just show you all the details. All we need from you is obviously your website, phone number, email, your headshot, all that stuff to get your branding package done. And so is there any other questions that they have?
We have a few questions actually. Okay. And then I want to jump into Brad. I know you had that system. I saw it when you shared your screen over there. That's in there for a campaign, because I know that some people are really looking for like how else can they automate by using AM cards. So Curtis, the two questions that I have is, one, if they already have AM cards, can they still get access to that FSBO drip campaign that you have? And how do they get access to that?
Send us a message at the bottom of AM cards. Just send us a quick message and they'll reply back. And what we're going to do is going to share it to your account. So when you send it over that message, we'll know what email's on your account and we'll share that entire campaign over to your account for sure. And one other thing that I forgot to mention, and some of you guys are like saying, hey, what is it? What are some of the things that you guys are doing with the campaign cards? One of the things that I did, I got my real estate license a couple years ago, and I did something really interesting. I just took a picture of a for sale by owner, and I put a sold sign across it, the address, and I sent it to the absentee owner, and I said, I know what it's going to take to sell your home. Let's have a conversation. I kept it very simple. And we had a conversation. I listed the $650,000 home 10 days after passing my Florida state exam. So you can be creative if you want, if you have the time. So what I found is a lot of real estate agents either have a lot of time and no money, or they have a decent marketing budget and just no time. So
you don't say.
We can help out both. Happy home anniversary. This is a fun one that we had somebody send out to their database. I'll sell your home quickly and for top dollar, I shit you not. This also works for FSBO'S and expireds as well, because humor is always really nice as well. So, okay, I'm going to.
Gotta love some humor. And just for clarification, Curtis, the $295, if they did pay that and they wanted you to set it all up, is that also included the first month for $39?
It does. So we put $40 in credits in their account right away, included in that $295. And if they sign up and they reach out to us and they want to pay the $295, we can have them charge the difference, or we can walk them through it if you can't figure that out on the website. So no problem.
Awesome. I got a question from Melissa. It says, how hard is it to do it yourself for $39? Melissa, if I figured it out, you can figure it out. However, I love automation. So honestly, I would rather just pay the $295 and have Curtis set it all up, and I get my flamingos and all my branding and everything else, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Leverage is key.
That question is at $295 per month. No, $295 one time, and we're going to set up your branding. We're going to put the branding on the cards for you. We're going to talk to you about your past client list as well as your FSBO'S and expireds campaign. And then we're just going to show you how to add a contact and send the contacts instantly. So once we get it set up, it'll be, a couple weeks to a month couple weeks. It depends on how fast you get us the information, and we can get the branding set up for you. I'm also going to send you the referral secrets videos so you can go through them, and a lot of little tips and tricks that you can use with your database. But this is more focused on FSBO'S and expireds.
Got it. And I'm going to ask the magic question that I know a few others are thinking. What's the difference between AM cards and send out cards before I go over to Brad?
Well, I'm the owner of AM Cards.
So we love Curtis.
Yes, you guys love me. No, well, I was with Send Out Cards for 6.5 years. I had 13,000 customers. And this is not a network marketing company, so I'm not going to get you to try to resell it. Now, if you want to refer it to people, I'll give you free credits. If you refer it to 4 people, your monthly membership is free every single month. So if you refer it to just 4 people, like that's that. Now here's the thing. We have card stock. That's a really heavy card stock. We use real first-class stamps, and I built it for the busy business professional that needs to get in the system and out of the system fast and on with their day. They know it's important, yet they're not doing it. And so when you see how simple and easy our layout is and how it's all one page, it's a no-brainer. And I didn't build it for a scrapbooker that wants to spend 45 minutes to make 1 card. If you want to do that, you could do that with us. That's not who I'm tailoring this company towards.
I would say the quality of the pieces that go out. Like we used
Really
cars before, and it was it was not a clear image. Just the quality of it's not as good. Whereas the quality of the AM cards is much better.
There you got it. You know the difference. It's not Send Out Cards, it's AM Cards.
And AM stands for Appreciation Marketing, by the way, after the book that I wrote.
And his book is really good, actually. Actually, my assistant had taken it, so I don't have it here, even though this is my dining room table turned into office quarantine. But
That's awesome.
anyways, thank you so much, Curtis. If you guys have any other questions, please, what is the email to send you a contact information? Because I did put out your cell phone number out there a few times. What is your best email, Curtis?
The best email to contact us is wecare@amcards.com, and our team will get it right away and we'll help you guys. And so we can, if you already have an account, reach out to us. We'll support you in any way that we can. We'll share those campaigns to you guys if you already have an AM Cards account. And then if you guys would like to get set up, I mean, there's no contracts and no commitments, so you guys can play around with it. And what a lot of our members do is if the credits roll over for a couple months, they'll end up sending out a Happy 4th of July campaign, or, we had somebody send out 3 or 4 Groundhog's Day cards in a row, the same card. It was really funny, to their list saying, thank you so much for always thinking about me for referrals. And they got so many calls thinking it was so clever.
I love that.
Yeah, they had a bunch of credits and they just gave it a shot and they got a bunch of referrals.
See, so look at that. So wecare@amcards.com. Reach out to Curtis. amcards39.
amcards39.com will give you the direct link to waive the $295.
There you go. Easy peasy. Just do it. Brad, what else are we doing with AM Cards over there? What else kind of drips campaign systems you got that I saw for automation?
Oh, so I use that. And then no matter what the tool is, right, this is sort of the cadence that we look for. So when expired hits from our target market, we call them in the AM and PM on day 1. If we confirm them, we send them the text and the voicemail, and we mail the letter and the info packet. So that's the AM Cards piece there, where we put them in that drip for those 4 postcards to go out. Then in our CRM, we tag them as a confirmed expired, and then we put them on the email drip campaign starts. Step 2 is once we talk to them, we tag them as a lead, hot lead, ABC, or nurture, set them to the market snapshot, save a search to them in MLS, and then we follow up based on what stage the lead's in. And then the cadence is, if you don't get in touch with them, we do call them on day 2 through 5. And then we call on weeks 4, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then the text messages go out on day 15, 30, 60, 90, 150, 300, and we stagger out 3 more mailers. Basically a quarter of the day.
Can we go back to that?
Yeah.
Is there a reasoning? You're talking to a girl that does not call expireds. Although I did step up my game to target luxury expireds. That's been very successful lately. But I'm just door knocking with a little care package.
Yep.
That cost me $4.50, and it's generated me at least a little over 4 million. It's great. So is there a system behind week 4, 10? Like, why are those numbers? Why is it 4, 10, 15 and text day? Is that what you guys have found? Is that a system that you were given?
We just figured, like, how many touches do we feel is appropriate, and how can we stagger them between call and text? So it basically hits them, if you look at it, it hits them every 2 to 3 weeks.
Love it.
At least once a month, basically.
I like that.
And it kind of tapers off. So it's heavier in the beginning and tapers off towards the end. So you can see it's like a call on week 50, a text on day 300. There's a 50-day gap, 60-day gap. It's not like an exact science, but it's just kind of just to stagger them out a little bit.
Okay. Got it. I was just curious. I just got a question about what is in my care packages. I can post that in the file section too. And Brad, if you want to, it just, those little care packages you would get, I got it from a leadership one where it's like a penny to remind you to have good luck, a Smarties candy to remind you that you're smart, a rubber band to remind you to stay flexible, a Band-Aid to remind you that it'll be okay and I can help you. And so I bought everything, a Snickers to remind you always to laugh. I have my Flamingo eyeglass cleaner to always remind you to keep your vision clear and know that I am the best agent for you. So I just bought everything in bulk and then put it in these little flamingo bags and I drop it off at the house. And I don't even just knock on the door and say, I just figured you're going through a rough time and you may need some extra little love. So here's your care package.
All right,
and
Tara,
I'm
going to make a gift out of AM cards with that. That's a cool idea.
So
yeah, it was the cheapest thing ever.
Yeah. What I used to do is I would just buy like a case of wine, and for like expireds in our farm that I couldn't get a hold of and couldn't talk to after like a couple of weeks, I would just knock on the door or the day it expired and just say, hey, I know that you've been getting a lot of calls today. Here's a bottle of wine on me. You guys relax and just have a nice evening. And if you don't mind just taking my call over the next couple of days, I'd love to reach out and chat with you. So it's just
easy peasy. It's not even salesy.
You're trying to just get in touch with people.
I love that. And would you say that Vulcan 7 is the best system for finding expireds?
Yeah. Yeah, I've used 4. I've used Espresso. Well, Espresso and Vulcan 7 are basically the same company, for what I gather.
Listen, it isn't expensive. Isn't it easier? Can't you just team up with another agent too, especially if you're newer in the business?
Yeah, Vulcan 7's $330 a month.
I just feel like if you're a brand new agent, just jumping in and spending $330 a month for Vulcan, and you haven't even practiced your scripts yet, doesn't sound like the smartest thing to me. Would you suggest, splitting, maybe going in with some other agents in the office? And what's the realistic, your TL, what's the realistic chances that everyone's going to be calling every day for the same time? Or are they going to mostly be at the water cooler at different times?
Yeah, no, my advice is that when I tell agents when they come on is that you're starting a business, so you need to have some money to invest, not to go spend, $5,000 a month on marketing. But like if you're starting a business and you don't have
$39 to AM cards a month.
Yeah, if you don't have some money, $100 a month for AM cards, right? Because you're going to send, 30 of them to your, send some to your database, right? Like, to me, it's an investment that once you sign one listing, it pays for your whole year, essentially. And yeah, so I think that I would just spend the money and that's what I did. That worked out pretty good.
I like that. What do you got on the next page over there for FSBO'S?
Oh, it's basically the same thing. It's like, oh, let me get over there. So my FSBO game is a little bit different. My FSBO game is very like, to me, so I look at, the way I think about it is I think of expireds as like, they're like your one night stands, right? They're ready to go, you know? They're like, you know, they've already hired an agent, you know, they're like, their agent let them down. They're like, they're on the rebound, right? They're ready to get out there and go.
We love a good rebound.
So your
At least I
FSBOs,
do.
though, they're more of like your 6
Oh,
to 8.
they want the long-term
Yeah, they're
commitment.
more long.
That's annoying.
So you got to put some work in on the FSBOs. So
Ugh.
with them, you know, it's my first step is to find them. I set them up on a Zillow. I set up a Zillow search in my target area. So the email comes directly to me when they post their home on Zillow. And then I call them immediately. So I try to be the first agent to call them. And then we send out cards, 5 mailers in 5 weeks. So we send out 5 mailers in 5 weeks to them. We try to set the appointment for the listing, or we backtrack into step 2. So step 2, so for 5 weeks, they're going to get a card each week from us. And we're just going to call, and it's going to say, is there a time in the future where you'd hire an agent, right? Try to get their timeline, motivation, that kind of thing. And then just ask, would you be offended if I reached out once a week to check in? My goal is to provide you with value. And if you desire to hire an agent, I'd love to be considered for the job of selling your home. And then it's pretty much a cadence of just calling on Monday and Friday. So Monday is, how did the weekend go? Did you get any offers? You know, did you get the market search that I sent over? Because I put them on a market search. You get the homes that I sent to you. You know, did you see the one down the street that just went under contract? You know, yeah, I hate that buyer didn't come to your home. I'd love for the next buyer that buys a home in your neighborhood to pick your home, wouldn't you? Then on Thursday, it's an email and a text. And it's kind of the same thing that we send out in the marketing pieces. It's like, we'll send things for like getting your home ready for showings, how to get your home ready for landscaping, the 67 tips to selling your home. And then giving them a call on Friday and just saying, hey, what are your plans for the weekend? Did you get the information I sent over? Is there anything I can do to help you? And then we offer open house signs for them. Like, hey, do you guys have open house signs? So like, we'll go put up open house signs for FSBO'S. We'll give them registration forms and say, hey, you know, you don't want strangers in your home. Have them fill out these registration forms. And if they decide not to buy your home, just send them to us.
Smart.
And then we've hosted open houses in the past where we do like 1-day listing agreements to host an open house. And then my rule of engagement is that you want to make every contact informative and coming from contribution. So how can I help you? What can I do to serve you? And you will just, because the FSBO'S get about 30 calls the first week, but then it starts tapering off dramatically by the 6th, 7th, 8th week. Like in my market, when I was the one doing this system, I knew the 1 or 2 agents I was going to compete with for every listing, because they were the only ones that would follow up as much as I did.
Well, there you go.
So
well, when you know your value and you know your worth, there is no other competition.
That's right. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a cadence of marketing and prospecting. You know, the best way to get to get someone is, you know, if you 100% market or you 100% prospect, you got to find a nice happy medium between the two. And that's where I like to use the AM cards, because it's a nice marketing piece.
So I have a question for you as we wrap up here. If you had to pick, obviously we know FSBO'S and expireds are both huge sources of your business. If you had to pick one over the other, which one would you pick, Brad?
I'm a one-night stand kind of. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a one-night stand kind of girl, so it's okay. I'll say it.
So I would say in the beginning, I would do for sale by owners because it's free, right? You can find them on Zillow. You know, you can call them. You know, their phone numbers are right there, so it's easier to get their information. And so I would start with for sale by owners for sure, and then I would move to expireds next.
And then move to expireds.
Yeah, because expireds don't actively put their phone number out on the internet, right?
Yeah.
But for sale by owners do that, you know, so it's much easier. And I've also found that most for sale by owners live in the home for whatever reason. Like they don't, you know, most people aren't trying to sell their home for sale by owner and live in another state or, you know, like the home, you know, so they're there, you know. So,
and then you use Curtis's system for AM cards for the drip campaign, and you just show them that one card that Curtis showed us, and it scares them. It says escape number 7, escape plan. It just shows it.
I love that. Yeah, we have one card that we send that's like 280 things that an agent does. 280 activities you have to do to sell your home.
Yeah, that's a great one.
It's crazy. So
that's awesome. And I guess the next question, because I know that we have some, I don't like to say the word new on here. We have some ones that have now added real estate to their treasure box of tools. And what is your best advice for those that have that fear to call and fear of rejection? What advice do you have for them?
In the nicest way that I can put it is that if you're going to let your fear of rejection of a stranger get in the way of your goals, whatever they may be, which might be providing for your family, you know, whatever that is, you got to get over that. It's it's either pain or pleasure. What you're doing by saying no to that is you're running away from pain instead of running to pleasure. So, you know, for me, it's just next, right? There's an abundance of business. I don't even know these people. They don't know me. If they say no, they say no, and I go on to the next person. I would actually rather someone say no than say, yeah, give me a call back or do this or do that and have no intentions of doing it. Like, I'd rather someone directly just tell me no than not, right? And then that way I can move on to a new prospect, you know? So there's an abundance of business out there. I would just say, you know, you're in sales, right? Like, hey, Curtis, how many times do you get told no in sales? Right? It doesn't matter what sales business you're in, right? If you're in sales, you're going to get told no, and you just got to get used to that.
Definitely.
Yep. So what he's saying is build a bridge, get over it. And there's this lovely little affirmation that I love repeating besides having a 5-second funeral for it, which is, and I say it a lot too, some will, some won't, so what, next.
Yeah. So yeah,
and
exactly right.
that seems to help. I don't know. I got that from a bold coach. I don't remember who though. But some will, some won't. So what? Next. And on that note, I'm gonna say adios. And it was a pleasure. Make sure you sign up for AM cards. Send your referrals on over to Brad. He's in DC, Arlington area, and North Carolina, Greensboro. So you know he knows some people. And you can flamingo with me down in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida.
Go with me.
Flamingo. And did you know today is National Flamingo Day? I mean, hello. It is June 23rd is National Flamingo Day. So it is a fabulous holiday. That's why I'm full of extra energy today. So when you see a flamingo, think of me for your real estate needs.
Awesome.
You see my flamingo shirt with my little girl flamingo?
I did. I commented. I'm like, I could love this times 10 because you have a flamingo on. So it's flocking fabulous. I loved it.
All right. See you guys.
All right, guys. You have a
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Bye.